What is going on, everybody? I am back today to talk about a brand new released horror movie that's being produced by Neon that stars real life husband and wife couple Alison Brie and Dave Franco. And I've been really excited to watch this movie ever since I saw the trailer for it initially because number one, I just did a video of it recently, but I absolutely love body horror movies. I've always been a huge fan of the genre. David Cronenberg's always been one of my favorite directors. I really love when you can take these stories and incorporate these really sick and twisted elements of body horror and always make it symbolic for something larger. And obviously, from the trailer, this was clearly going to be looking at relationships and codependency in relationships, which I was really excited, especially having a husband and wife couple be at the central focal point of the movie. I felt like whatever the director was going for and how they would approach it would resonate very well. And the film I'm going to be telling you about today is Together. Together is directed by Michael Shanks. With a move to the countryside already testing the limits of the couple's relationship, a supernatural encounter begins an extreme transformation of their love, their lives, and their flesh. So I was super excited to watch this movie. Like I said from the trailer, this looked like something that was going to be right up my alley, and I was hopeful that it would be as effective as it looked in the trailer. And I am pleased to report that it very much is fantastic. I really loved this movie a lot. I think the execution is really great. I think the body horror elements, while some people complained that there wasn't enough, they wanted it to be sicker and more twisted, and I'm assuming that's to do with the marketing of the film. But for me, I felt like the way that they incorporated the body horror elements really just helped accentuate the message about relationships and codependency that the film was trying to stress on. And that was my favorite part of the movie. I feel like the through line of this couple's relationship and how they were trying to navigate through some very difficult situation in their lives really worked out well. And I felt like the third act was a really intense gut punch that was very well done. And I'm excited to tell you a little bit about the movie today. So at the beginning of the film, we are introduced to couple Tim and Millie, played by Dave Franco and Alison Brie. And they are living in New York City, but we learn very early on Millie has been given an opportunity to teach at an elementary school several hours outside of the city. And Tim is not taking that very well because Tim is an indie musician. He plays in different bands, he works on a lot of solo projects, and you can tell his life is completely and totally embedded in like New York culture, being able to go to these clubs. He can't drive a car, like he's very much embedded in the way that he's living his day-to-day life. But Millie is given this opportunity. She clearly makes more of the money in their relationship. And so he doesn't feel like he has the ability to say no. And so the two of them, they have this party for their friends, and there's this really uncomfortable moment between the two of them early on that kind of showcases where their relationship is at. You can tell these people truly do love each other, but there's been a lot of things that have happened in their lives that have caused separation and distance, which is very true to a lot of couples. And so they end up moving out to this house in the countryside. But when they get out there, they are exposed to something supernatural. And when it happens, it causes their bodies to start changing. And whenever they get within proximity of each other, their bodies like stick together. They're like drawn to each other in this very unnatural way. And the entirety of the film is watching this couple experience these supernatural things and how it just progresses worse and worse as the film continues to carry on. So, like I said, I really liked this movie a lot. I found it to be very entertaining, and there are several reasons why. For starters, the performances from top to bottom in this movie are great, but I think Dave Franco and Alison Brie being a real life married couple really helps make this movie work as well as it does, because whenever there was tension between the two of them, even like the unspoken element of the tension, you can tell like married couples operate a very specific way, especially if they've been together for a while. And I thought that what worked really well is they're not married in this movie. They're talking about it, but they've been together for like 10 years, I believe, is what they're saying early on in the film. And so you can really feel the years of relationship experience between these two people so that when there is confrontation, you experience it in a way that is very raw and realistic and visceral. And because of their performances, it really makes the movie work well. One of my other favorite performances in the movie is David Harriman, who plays Jamie, the principal of the school that Alison Brie's character is working at. I feel like his incorporation, the experiences that he's had, really help add to the point that the film is trying to make, and his character provides some interesting insight. And I think the trajectory of his character was really interesting, and I enjoyed his incorporation in the movie. I also thought this was very well shot. There's a lot of attention to detail in the editing in this movie, and I feel like it helps create a very anxiety inducing, uncomfortable film tonally. You want this movie to feel unsettling. You want it to feel strange and uncomfortable and almost nauseating. And there's a lot of moments in the camera work and where it is placed and how it kind of rotates and the way that it showcases our characters going through these really horrific moments of body horror that just help you kind of feel it in a very visceral way. Because even though most of us have not experienced like issues with our bodies moving and twisting and shaping in the way that these characters are experiencing it, being able to convey that through the visuals really helps you feel it because like you've probably twisted your arm or stubbed your toe or done a lot of these things in a lesser manner. And so the way that they approach showcasing it visually really just made my skin crawl. I also thought the sound design in this movie was exceptional, and I feel like in this particular instance, when you're making a movie about really gnarly, disgusting body horror, you have to have really great sound to accompany it. And I thought that they did a really nice job with that. And the music as well in the movie, the original score, I feel like helped carry this along very well. But as I said, my favorite part about this movie is the messaging that the film is having about codependency, because I feel like relationships are very interesting. When we're born, it's almost like you're programmed, especially in the United States of America, that the American dream is to literally find a person, marry them, and live your life. And like it has to work out, or for some reason you're a failure. And what's interesting about relationships is when two people come together, just because you've like formed this pact with someone, you're sharing your life with them, does not take away your individuality as a person. And so that can create conflict because people want to get different careers, they have different friend groups, they have different interests. And so that can cause a lot of tension. And I thought this film did a really brilliant job of showcasing that despite their differences, the two people in this movie love each other. They genuinely care for each other. There's just so many different things getting in the way. Dave Franco's character wants to have this career in a field that it's very hard to be successful. And he's also in an area that's oversaturated with people in the music industry. And it just makes it harder for him to get his feet on the ground, where Alison Brie's character has taken a more traditional job. She's gone to college, she's gotten her schooling, she's a teacher. And so it's in her life, it's going to be easier to acquire a job to make money because she's gone to school for this thing, where Dave Franco's, it's a creative, artistic field, and she doesn't necessarily gets his passion for it, but she doesn't understand completely like why he's doing things this way. She seems to be much more of a traditionalist in a lot of manner, which causes the two of them to clash. And then there's issues in Dave Franco's character's past when it comes to trauma surrounding his parents and things that have happened to him when he's younger that create even more of an interesting conversation, where I think the director does a really nice job painting that picture of individual experience and getting to a point in a relationship where you feel like you can't live without the other person, but is that solely because you don't remember what life was like before that person, or because you genuinely deep down love them that much? And that's what the film kind of juggles with at the very end of the movie, is like, is this a genuine, authentic love, or are these just two people who don't remember how to live before the other one was in their life? And I think that's an interesting question that's posed for a lot of couples out there. And I think that the way it's handled, obviously there's a lot of conversation surrounding it, but I think when the supernatural element is introduced and what that's going for and how that kind of speaks volumes to the message of the relationship dynamics, it really worked for me while I was watching it. I just found it to be very thought provoking. I found it to be very well done, and it's truly horrific. I know some people were complaining there wasn't enough body horror in this movie, but I think the body horror that is incorporated, it's disgusting, it's slimy, it's gross. There's some really great practical effects sequences. There's obviously some CGI incorporated, but there's also some really phenomenal practical effects, especially towards the third act of the movie, that I really liked a lot. And I just found this to be incredibly entertaining. It was exactly what I wanted out of this movie. It was fun, it was darkly comedic in moments, it was incredibly dramatic in others, and it kept me hooked to the screen for the whole hour and 45-minute runtime. And I think if you're a fan of body horror movies, you 100% should check out Together. So, have you seen Together? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you thought. I thought this movie was awesome. I really enjoyed it a lot, and I'll be looking forward to revisiting it sometime in the future. And as always, if you can like the video and subscribe to the channel, helps me out a lot and lets me know the type of content you're looking for. I'm always putting out new material and look forward to getting more out for you in the near future. And as always, everyone, thank you so much for watching and have a great rest of your day.